my name is Lisa Espinosa, and I'm here to interview the members of the Uther Pendragon band and all of its incarnations.
Martin Espinosa.
Okay, Martin, when did you first start playing your instrument? How old were you?
I was 16 or 17 years old, and when I got my first bass guitar and amplifier.
What year did you first join what was to be known as the Uther Pendragon band, and how did that all come about?
Doug Williams, who was one of the founding members of Blue Fever, him and Bruce, went to the same high school I did, Sarah, and he came up to me one day in the hallways and said, "Hey, I saw that you played string bass in the dance band. Learn to play bass guitar and you can be in our group." So I said, "Okay." So I went out and bought a bass guitar and amplifier and practiced for a few months. Gave Doug a call and said, "I'm ready." And they went over and auditioned for Doug and Bruce. And they accepted me.
Okay, I think every once in a while we should, you make contact with me, so, we're talking, and then you make contact with the camera.
Okay.
A couple of questions, maybe you should move. Well, so you're not in the way of the camera, but so he looks at you too.
Yeah.
I might do a zoom out.
Well, whatever
thing.
you guys see. Okay.
And then, still really bad at the half thing. I think I did it. All right.
When do you think the beginning of your band was?
I would say in late 1965 or maybe early 1966 is when the Blue Fever was the three of us.
And were you mostly a cover band at the time, or did you write your own songs from the start?
In the beginning, we were mostly a cover band, playing the most popular songs of the day.
You answered some other stuff before. Okay.
Oh.
What was Blue Fever's very first song that you played?
I think that the first song that we played was either Louie Louie or Gloria. Those
Hold
were the
on.
big hits of the time.
I don't think I got that. The focus didn't go in. I might have to start that question over. I can't figure out this focus thing. You see that?
Oh, yeah, that's not encoded at all. Not even close.
Sarah
That's
probably
bad.
will.
It's really
Yeah.
bad.
Super blurry.
Switch it to manual. For a second, where is it on here?
Whoa, what did you do?
I switched it to manual focus.
Oh,
So this right there,
okay.
She's been my camera bitch for a while.
can you tell? There.
Why didn't they ask you to do this? They're like,
I don't think they do.
I don't think they realize. I've had a little practice.
Okay.
all
I
right.
should take my shoes off so I don't clack on my
I think we
floor.
already have me asking the question, so the question was, what was your first song?
Our first song was either Louie Louie or Gloria. Those were the most popular songs of the day, and those were two of the first songs that we learned as Blue Fever.
Sorry, I have to see what I did and didn't ask. See, I already asked you that.
This, I'll do is,
So, when did the band officially become Uther Pendragon?
That didn't happen until the early 70s, right after Mike, our drummer, came to the group, probably around 1971 or 1972.
I should take that picture and just flash it right in front of it.
Yeah.
The picture I have of the band.
So, in critical review, of which you've gotten a lot in the past 6 months since your album came out, They've noted that your tracks reflect the history of the band. Was that by design? Did you guys decide to do it that way, or did it just happen to come out that way?
I don't think there was a magic design in any way, shape, or form way back when. It was just, we would be recording different songs. We did a lot of recording, and we would work on those songs for literally countless hours until we had them down really well, and then we would record them. And we would just continually write more and more songs. At the same time, through the early 70s and the late 60s, we also did quite a few copy tunes.
So when Uther Pendragon first formed up, what were your personal favorite bands and songs?
You mean Uther Pendragon in the early 70s?
Yes.
Most of the really great bands of the era were mentors to us. In the Bay Area, Jefferson Airplane, Moby Grape, Quicksilver, It's a Beautiful Day, and elsewhere, The Who, the Beatles, the Stones, the Yardbirds. Pretty much all the really great groups of that era were groups that we tried to emulate. And it was fun. And a lot of times we would play some of the copy tunes, and of course that sometimes went into our musical writing when we wrote songs.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what this means. The band decided to group all their songwriters together as partners. Oh, okay. I understand that Uther Pendragon groups all of the band members as equal songwriting partners. Is that still the same way?
Yes, even though an individual member might write the lyrics or the melodic lines, when we actually got together and worked the songs out, it was a collaborative effort in which what may have started out in one venue many times ended up in a completely different sound, and it was really by the collaboration of all of the guys in the group that the songs became what they did. So it was something that we just felt really strongly about, that even though one person may have introduced a song or a lyric, it was us as a group who actually made it what the songs are today.
What did you think and how did you feel when your 3-album LP came out, San Francisco Earthquake?
Well, when it first came out, we got Mark sent us all the links so that we could hear it before we actually heard the albums or the CDs. And I was pretty blown away by the quality that the Guerssen Records had done in the remastering. Some of the songs that I thought were sounding really good came out really great. And some of the songs which seemed really weak came out really good. And to hear this music, I was in many of the songs I was just blown away. And because I didn't have a stereo system at that particular time, I had to listen to all these songs with a set of earphones. And I started hearing parts by all the musicians in the group. Bruce on his leads, Mike on the drums, Mark on the piano and guitar, and me in the bass. I just ended up hearing things that I said, wow, I didn't think we did that stuff. But we did. And it just really blew me away to hear all this music come through the headphones. It was really a really cool thing.
And was that a really nostalgic experience? Because, I mean, this was quite a few years ago. The band was when you were 18, into your 20s.
It was in some ways, because it was music from 40 or 45 years ago. Some of the songs I had played off and on through the years with my family, so there wasn't something there was some things that were fairly recent, But all the other songs, the minute I started hearing them, it was like they was yesterday. You know, the mind does that to you.
Good job. That's so funny.
Okay, you just answered that. Nope. Okay. Would you like for Uther Pendragon to play out as a band again? Would you like to maybe book some gigs in California, maybe do a little U.S. jaunt?
Yes, I've talked to the other members of the group, and we would definitely like to play some gigs out. You know, maybe as a solo band or as a lead-in band. I think that would be really fun. Doing some of the things we never got to do back in the day. I think that would be a really cool thing. And we're about the same age as a lot of the great rock and roll groups out there now who are on tour, so it's not something that's really unusual for people to go see a band of old fogies playing rock and roll music.
I'd go.
I
Nice
would go
wording,
too. I would totally go, Mr. Martin Espinosa. Of course, you're my dad.
You're not my dad.
Do you think you're better now than you were when you first recorded these songs?
In many ways, yes. The amount of practice we did back then was really astronomical. We used to practice 4 days a week for 3 to 4 hours at night, and on the weekends we would practice 5 to 6 hours both Saturday and Sunday. So we put in 30 to 40 hours a week in practice, and in the musicality and the instruments. We'd sing a cappella next to the piano, so we knew these songs inside out, backwards and forwards. But now we don't have the feeling that we have to play a particular place or do a particular thing. Now we do it for the love of music. And when I just play with the guys, when we're just practicing, I have as much fun as when we're playing in front of a bunch of people. It's a great bunch of guys who are like my brothers. And so doing that now has a completely different reward than it did back then. So yeah, in many ways, I think we're better now than we were then.
Why?
Hi.
It's got 3 minutes left.
Okay.
It's got 3 minutes left on record.
Oh, okay. Okay. Why did you record all those tapes back then? There were over 200 of them that I heard you guys sifted through in order to make this album.
Well, we really believed that one of the best ways to learn our music was to record it and then listen back, because then you can hear every little nuance, whether you played the part just right, whether you're really together. Because when you're playing it, you lose a lot. But when the recordings don't lie, you know, when you listen back, oh, I didn't make that note, or I didn't get that lead, or we weren't together at that place where we were supposed to have that break. And so a lot of it was just to learn about our own songs. But also we did want to eventually sign a record contract, and so we were looking to improve our recording techniques. So we ended up just doing a lot of recording for all those reasons.
I understand that the band had a company. What were they do? Where were they located? How did it begin?
That company was called Upco, and I had a construction company, and we had a warehouse in Palo Alto right by Stanford University, and we built a recording studio there, and we ran my construction business, and we ran the music business out of there, and we did all sorts of things. We worked with amplifiers with the person who had developed a new amplifier, and we worked with some recording and some booking, and I also did some record promotion and other things in the music business.
Oh, 1 minute.
Okay. How did you get the gig at Keystone Berkeley?
That was a really interesting story. I went to a IMIC, which is Billboard's magazine's yearly conference down in Acapulco. And on the way down, I happened to sit next to a person who was the attorney for Bill Graham, Moby Grape, It's a Beautiful Day, Leon Russell, and we talked the whole way down and became fairly friendly. And when we came back, I stayed in contact with him, and we had a promotional party, and he came to our promotional party in Redwood City, and he thought at that time that he said that we were one of the best groups in the Bay Area, and he proceeded to get us the gig at Keystone Berkeley, introduced us to Bill Graham, and one other club, but I don't remember the name of it. And so that was how we got the job at Keystone.
Okay. It's 2 seconds left.